Okay, we're sitting with Deidra Ripsom, who's one of our top agents here, and I just wanted to take 10 minutes, do a quick interview with you to have you share with our team what you're doing to become so successful. And we were talking before we started the interview, we're almost at the end of the year now, and you already closed 40 transactions, which is huge. But interesting story, you started as a buyer's agent, right?
I did. I did buyer's agenting for about 3 years to start off my business.
And then you graduated into full service, right?
Yeah, I had my daughter and then decided to go out on my own.
So with buyers now, because you've had that specialized kind of training, so to speak, in the trenches, what's your process? I mean, when you're talking to a buyer, and you work mostly by referral.
I do.
We talked about the fact that of your 40 transactions, how many was new buess this year?
About 38 so far.
38 was all repeat and referral.
Well, repeat referral, only two.
Two were new.
Yeah, only two were new. And if I link them back, there's like normally somebody that I know that it might not have been a complete direct referral, but two.
That's incredible. So, but with your buyers that are referred to you, you walk them through. We were talking about this concept of buyer training. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, especially like in the market we're in right now with the lack of inventory and how crucial it is to be pre-approved and ready to go. I don't want to be wasting their time or mine. And so I just really try to focus in with the buyers when I'm walking them through our first conversations or first meeting, just how important it is to get pre-approved. But instead of saying, talk to a lender and get pre-approved and come back to me, I do, send them over to the agent or to the lender directly. But I kind of use it as, we really want to get you into the house you're wanting. And with the lack of inventory right now, it would just be so important to be pre-approved, ready to go when we're out looking at these houses. And I try to just make it like compassionate and that I care. I don't want to see them miss out on the house that they're wanting.
Right.
And I'm just trying to coach them in a way that feels like I'm taking them under my wing and I'm going to walk them through the process and set expectations for multiple offers, not needing closing costs, working with the lender to bump the rate. I mean, So
it's a value to them.
It's a value to them, and I want them to feel like I'm taking them in and I'm going to walk them through that process and set expectations. So say in this market when there's a lack of inventory and we're pushing price and there's a low appraisal that comes in, I'm trying to kind of set that expectation that we might run into that. So if it does happen, I just try to like have little fallout if possible. Like I'm always for my client backing out of a transaction and falling out if it needs to, but I want to set good expectations for them from start to finish so we can see it through.
And let's talk about that. So the client, when you're making that initial, is this on the phone you're doing this, or do you bring them in and have this conversation?
A lot of times it's on the phone to start, and then I bring them in. And then graduate them.
How long is that meeting, that first qualifying meeting when you're sitting with them and you're
in person? It's normally pretty quick, 30 minutes or less.
And we talked about before we started, when you first started as a buyer's agent, you worked from a script or a questionnaire.
Oh, yeah.
But now it's all up here, right?
Yeah.
So, but that's a good reminder for all of us that memorization does matter.
Yeah.
And that you started, like any good agent, with just having it all written down for you, which is interesting. So we wanted to talk about where your business comes from, and one of the things that we talked about before the interview is this moms group that you're part of.
Moms group.
So let's talk about that.
Yeah. So when I had my daughter, there was kind of a group that you could get together with once a week and just kind of share what you're going through with your new baby.
Yeah.
And then our kids got older and we realized we weren't going to continue to do that, and they were like starting to walk around and there was new babies there. So we started a Facebook page and then we would set up like play dates and meetings and everything. Well, I kind of became friends with these women, and a lot of them are, growing families, looking for bigger houses, more space, they're renting, they want to buy.
Sure.
I mean, they just started bringing up kind of questions, and everybody started to learn I was like the realtor in the group, so I kind of became like the go-to person for any question with housing and what they should be doing. And my husband's a contractor, so there's always questions there. And so when I looked back even at my numbers this year, I'm closed so far I think about 8 transactions from direct people in this moms group. And then there's a couple more that are kind of like indirectly through, because there's I think on our Facebook page there's like 250 plus moms in the Rogue Valley.
Wow.
And so there's about like a network of them, about 20 to 25 of them that I get together with at least once a month. But they all have referred me their business. I mean, some of them are lenders themselves that refer me their referrals too. I mean, it's just kind of like grown. So
that's a solid quarter of your 40 transactions. I mean, that's a lot when you think about that. That's huge. So let's talk about it's kind of the last thing to touch on, which I think is super important, which is overlooked a lot, which is your relationship with cooperative agents.
Yeah.
So how do you?
That's important to me. I want people to want to do deals with me, and so I'm for my client always. And so whatever I can do to get the transaction to go through is what I try to strive for. And then when it comes to the other agent, just returning calls, text messages, emails, trying to keep in communication. Communication is just so key. And so I love it when I hear oh, we're competing offers, but we want to work with you.
Sure.
I think what a great selling feature for my buyers too, or sellers to know I'm listing your home, but agents want to bring their buyer to our listing because they know I'll work hard for them to get the deal done, and keep good communication throughout the process. So I just find that to be really important.
So you never adversarial, you're always cooperative, trying to request.
I mean, I'm going to stick up for I'm going to stick up for my client for sure. But at the same point, I'm trying to troubleshoot always too, and try to come to the listing agent or buyer's agent or my client with ideas. If we're hitting a stumbling block, I want to be the person that's proactive and setting up something that's a win-win or fair for everybody, but getting my client's point across at the same time.
I gotta just two more things real quickly because you're so good. Is work-life balance. You've got kids.
I do.
Right. So how old are your kids?
4.5 and 1.
4.5 and 1. So you did 40 transactions with a 4.5-year-old and a 1-year-old, which I think is a great testament to, first of all, being a working mom and figuring it out, right? Yeah. But how do you create that work-life balance? What's the secret?
I don't know that I'm that great at that part, if I'm being honest. My kids,
you're doing it.
I'm doing it, and my kids love and hate showing houses at, after swimming or gymnastics.
Sometimes?
Occasionally. I mean, there's certain things I will never bring them to because their patience doesn't last. Right. But and I try to not, but I know clients hear kids in the background sometimes. They're loud, they're playing, they're crying, they're doing whatever. But it makes me personable too, and I never try to hide the fact that I'm a mom and working, but I try to find the balance. My husband, like I said, does construction too, and so we're around houses and all of that all the time, so they're comfortable.
And now you have an assistant as well, right?
I do have an assistant.
Is this the first year you've had an assistant?
It's been about a year and a half. It was when I was pregnant with my son, that Kelly's been with me, so she's wonderful.
How did you know it was time to pull the trigger on an assistant?
I think I knew. I was doing transaction coordination here in the office, and that wasn't just enough to keep up. I couldn't get back to people as quick as I wanted, be the accessible person in the front of my business. And so I needed to find somebody that I thought was good, that I could trust, that would see things the way I see things. I know she's always giving me positive feedback, Deidra, sometimes the way you're getting these responses from people, you're really doing a good job, and she sees it, and I'm and that's the way you want to do it too, because that's how you're going to grow a business, that people want to work with you, not only your clients and other agents. So, but how did I know it was time to bring somebody on? I just couldn't handle it all. I just couldn't handle it all anymore. I think I was talking to her and saying, I'm going to start interviewing people, looking for somebody. She's like, well, I could leave my job and come work for you. And I thought, there's no way she's going to want to do this.
Right.
And I said, I'm up till 1 o'clock in the morning, returning emails, doing whatever I can. And she's like, that's not fair.
Right.
The work-life balance.
Yeah.
All the kids are asleep, husband's asleep, I can work.
Right.
And
second shift.
Yeah, second shift starts on, and so I just knew I needed somebody that could be handling something simultaneous with me during the day, during day hours. And
awesome. Deidra, you're doing amazing. Thank you for the interview. It's a great lesson for all of us. Have an amazing year.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.